Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
All right, we're going to do something that we haven't done ever.
What's that?
Oh, you want to cheers first?
Show a video or?
Yeah, let's show the video.
Let's do it.
Show the video, then cheers?
Let's cheers, and then as you're watching the video.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll do the introductions after the video.
All right.
So first time ever.
Nick's drinking off mic.
No, there's a rule when you toast and then drink, you have to look at each other in the eye. But with three, how do you do that with?
Yeah. No, you just have to make a
You
good
do have to
eye,
look at each
a
other in
good
the eye.
solid eye contact, or it's 7 years of bad sex.
Do we need to do it again?
Bad
No, we're good. I know I'm good. I know I got both your eyes.
We're good. Let's
safe. So
let's roll the clip. This is
do it.
something we wanted to get into in future episodes, and guess what, guys? It's here.
Who's screaming?
It's my worst nightmare right there.
Oh, doesn't look like you like that.
Is that a realistic? It's a realistic sleeve, right? Yeah. Look. Oh, look.
Yeah. There's different variations of it. That's one variation.
What does duct tape actually taste like?
Oh my god.
That's deer skin or pig skin, one or the other.
Oh, that was you screaming. I thought that was
Sometimes
like a
me. Most of the time it's me.
American Overwatch.
Those are the images that I see in my nightmares.
Totally.
I have a fear of police canine dogs.
Really?
Yeah, it's because I seen that, and I know what they're capable of. I respect them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you never seen it, you're like, yeah, go pet the dog, and I'm
But they
like,
wag their tails just like any other dog.
yeah, but I've seen that. I know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So
And those aren't even like hardcore dogs. Only one of those dogs is like street worthy. In fact, that's from a street worthy seminar, one of the classes we teach. But the rest of those dogs were maybe in training, or maybe they're police dogs, but think of it as they're still in like FTO phase.
man,
Let's do an introduction first before we.
wait, but let me further. We're gonna intro this, but I just want to tie it all in. Why I'm so scared is where their snouts are what level to the part of your body. The schnitzels. So I'm very, very worried about my giblets.
Yeah,
when I'm
I
around.
was-
I
I was
always
waiting-
stand to the side. I'm like, hey, it's a cute dog, man. All
I
right.
was waiting for giblets because he said the same thing about breakdancing.
Yeah.
So
weird segue. What's up, guys? It's Nick from Nick Off Duty.
And Justin from Florida.
And I got a very special guest. I don't know from that intro if you can't tell what we're going to be talking about. If you're listening to it on podcast land, we just watched a badass dog bite video, training video that he brought my friend Garret. Garret, go ahead and introduce yourself.
How you doing, folks? This is Garret Wing. I am the owner of American Standard Dog Training and the co-owner of American Overwatch Canine Services.
And also an active law enforcement officer.
Yes,
correct?
I am. Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. So this is a company that you have on your side, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But it's almost, I guess it's also a full-time gig.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, it's full-time passion, so I don't think of it as a job so much as just a passion. So it's my hobby. I just get paid for it.
That's
the way to do it.
Ultimate goal in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're doing now, but we're not getting paid for this.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, so
Someday.
So how? Okay, we gotta. Oh, so you have a dog company, but tell me, how did you get certified? How are you qualified to teach what you teach? Because you're not only teaching this local, you're all over the nation.
Correct. Yes.
World or nation?
Nation so far, but yeah, soon
Yep.
to be. Soon
No
to be.
passport stamps.
We're one class away from
Where do you think you're gonna head first out of the country? Where do you think?
wherever we're offered to go. Europe's a big place for
Yeah.
us for sure. South America.
All right.
Yeah.
So run down your background, your history, how you got started. I want to know. They want to know.
All right.
Tell
So 17 years on the force. Currently hold the rank of lieutenant. But the story's pretty long, I guess. I try to not to always ride my father's coattails, but it's kind of hard not to do. It's more of like a family business, so to speak. Canine just runs in the blood in my family, so I'll try to explain that. So my father became a police canine handler around 1981.
Yeah.
I was born in 1983.
Wow.
So literally, day one coming home, there's a police dog in the house. And so he stayed a police canine handler his entire career.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
28 and a half years. He did over 30 years as a police officer, but the minute he had an opportunity to get into canine, he got there and he stayed there.
Canine legend. He's a legend.
Wow.
Yeah. So literally grew up, right, around police dogs my entire life. And so where most families would maybe take a vacation to Disney World, our family vacations, we're traveling around with him to competitions, police dog competitions and whatnot. So, from the youngest age I can remember, that's all we did was, you remember the Pig Bowl?
Yes, Pig Bowl.
So some of my earliest memories are going to the Pig Bowl. Yeah,
so
you
Pig Bowl is a football game between police departments, essentially, right?
Yeah, they don't do it anymore, but we would go to the Orange Bowl, the old Orange Bowl,
Yeah.
and you'd have the county versus the city,
Yeah.
big event, and some real heavy
And those
brawlers.
were like legit, like helmets,
Oh, yeah.
pads, and stuff. It wasn't.
it was
just
rough.
Your turkey bowl flag football
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah.
It was an actual football game.
Yeah, but now as a young kid, I wasn't that big into football. I didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
But halftime show, that's the part we loved. And it was always who could put on the bigger show, the county or the city.
Yeah.
We're talking they're bringing in like, Hueys, or probably weren't Blackhawks back then, but they're fast roping down with dogs. And Canine was always the highlight of the halftime show,
Yeah.
seeing the dogs deploy and do bites, and it always impressed me. To this day, it still impresses me. So that's what I grew up with.
Yeah. So I like when the grandmas come out and dance at the Heat halftime shows. Just have a different bringing up.
You just have a different interest in life.
Just life. So you were into canines all your life.
Correct?
As a little kid, and then so you become a law enforcement officer. How quickly did you go to college or anything like that?
Yeah, I had a little bit of college. My plan was to get hired and continue college, but it's hard, working midnights and whatnot. I did eventually go back to school. I got my master's degree while being a police officer, which is not easy, but it can be done. It can be done. Yeah.
Starts modestly, and then he's like, and then got my master's. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
In what, may I ask?
organizational leadership.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that's good.
Yeah.
People think criminal justice.
No, diversify.
Yeah.
You're
of
already a
course.
police officer. Once you pass the academy, got a couple years on the street, you basically have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice.
Yeah,
so
right.
diversify, whatever else it could be, anything.
But like some kind of management thing is always good.
Yeah, especially if you're
Correct.
looking to move up in rank and
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, you get a lot of theory behind it and stuff.
So you become an officer, and then you're like, you know what? When your dad's a legend, it's a good thing to follow in his footsteps,
Yeah.
man. The guy's got some pretty big footsteps.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Big shoes to fill,
So,
that's for sure.
So how quickly did you go into being a canine officer right away?
Oh, almost immediately,
Yeah.
yeah. Kind of unheard of, with just opportunity among other things. But I was able to get in barely 2 years on, which is the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So got in there. But I'd like to rewind a little bit to maybe
Go.
give a little more backstory.
Come on.
Like just for instance,
We got an hour.
just to give you, how it's just in my blood. Just grew up
Yeah.
with it. The family business. My father, as most canine guys do, they'll go to like canine demonstrations at schools and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, and I'd tag along with my dad, and we went to one he was doing it for a kindergarten class.
Yeah.
And so he was showing the kids something, and he's always trying to impress little kindergartners. He's like, "You want to see him? You want to see this dog bite somebody? Yeah." And he looked around, but his partner, another canine handler, had already left. So he said, "Hey, Garrett, here's the sleeve. Go hide in the bushes." I'm about 8 years old.
Yeah.
8 years?
I'm like, I've seen it done many times.
Trial by fire.
And
Yeah.
the show is on. I mean, we got the little kids wanting it. So
Yeah.
I put the sleeve on, hide in the bushes, absolutely terrified.
Oh, my-
And this is my pet dog. To me, it's the pet dog.
Yeah.
But now I see the other side of him when he comes in those bushes.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, you're
That was
my
my
world
first.
now, boy.
That was my first taste of being on the other end of a police canine dog. And
Yeah.
he got the bite, and it was over, and it was a great thrill. Probably the biggest adrenaline rush I'd had at 8 years old. And
Had you
then,
ever put on a bite sleeve? Never.
I'd
Yeah.
probably played with them, but I'd never taken a bite from a, And that was that's a real dog back then.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
dogs my dad had, these are real dogs,
shepherd?
street-worthy dogs. This was a shepherd,
Yeah.
probably about 100 pounds.
So you say street worthy, and I just
Yeah.
want to sidetrack so we can clarify. So street worthy is they're ready for the streets, correct?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we could talk about this. We could go deep.
We're
But
gonna touch this later on, but so people get a street. So he's saying they're police ready. They're ready to start service as a police dog, or
they would be in our terms, right?
Yeah.
Can and you talked about this in one of your last podcasts, right? With I think Trillo is his name?
Yeah, Trillo.
Rid, right?
Rid, yes.
Really, high-speed unit.
Yes.
Spell out RID again with the name.
Robbery intervention detail. So you're going
Perfect.
after the bad member jammers.
Those guys are warriors.
Yeah.
Right?
I was one of them.
I know, man.
I'm a warrior. Hey,
Don't sell yourself short, man.
I'm not
So-
only a dancer.
Those guys are warriors, right? You feel comfortable going into battle with them, right?
Yes.
And they would be considered like the elite of the elite when it comes to police work,
Yeah.
street police work.
Street,
You know,
yeah.
nothing against SWAT guys or
No.
something, but these are
Nitty
they're
gritty.
hunters.
Like,
Yes.
Of evil men,
Yes.
and not everyone can be a RID officer.
No.
Okay. Not every canine dog is necessarily street worthy.
Okay.
And there's plenty of videos out there on the internet, dogs that absolutely crush it.
Yep.
And dogs that, because they goofed up, probably cost somebody their life or got somebody hurt and just weren't ready for the job. So
Okay.
that's actually, it's not to plug my company, but that's where my passion is
Yeah.
when you deploy in that situation and when it really, really counts, will your dog do what it's supposed to do?
All right. So you're putting.
we
it
gotta
to that.
prep those dogs for it.
So that's just that's where we're talking about street worthy, because we said it. I think we said it already a couple times. I just want to clarify what it was before we moved on.
And I guess to put another example, like just because you pass the police academy,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're ready for
No.
everything out there.
Yeah.
You got to sharpen your teeth, so to speak.
Yeah, and there's only so much that you can go through in a training environment. Even though we push the
Correct.
limits,
Yes.
there's only so much that we can't. We can't actually shoot in your direction or create or have someone, actually full of bullet shots. We can. You got hit in the leg, but now
You're saying
to-
like when you train officers and stuff like that.
in the
yeah.
academy, what he's
Yeah.
saying is like you can train them up to a certain point, but they have to sharpen their teeth.
But it's the same for the dogs, right? If training is done properly, the dog doesn't know they're training,
Yeah.
right? That's the ticket. That's one thing we can do to a dog that you can't do to a police recruit. Like
Yeah.
they know it's training.
Yeah.
But if you set it up just right, the dog doesn't know the difference between training and reality,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes people talk about that, training for reality. In fact, our company motto is realistic training for real world deployments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
So-
take a lot of pride in it, and I mean, we're putting our name on it, and the last thing we want is one of the dogs we've trained to go out there and fail on the street because it's going to get somebody hurt. So
So to rewind, to get back onto
Right.
the chronological orders, because I'm all about the chronological orders. So you had an adrenaline dump in the bushes.
I've had a lot of those actually. Thinking back on it,
Is that a way of describing it? Here's the difference. I'm about to be 38. And he was 8.
30 years.
I'm still taking adrenaline dumps in the bushes when I'm around those guys.
Around dogs.
and that was my first hit, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
The first one, and then when it really amped up was I started doing ride-alongs with my father when I was 16, right, which is a couple years prior to when you're allowed to. But
Yeah.
this is late 90s, early 2000s,
Yeah, a little bit.
midnight shift, and
Yeah.
hey, just sign here and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Well, very first ride out, high-speed car chase, bailout, perimeter.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to search with Canine? Yes. So, I mean, distinct
Absolutely.
privilege to back up Canine.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't have a gun or anything, but
Yeah.
to walk with Canine on an actual track or a search for a armed wanted felon at night,
Hooked.
in the bushes.
Yeah.
It's serious because it's a big deal even for police officers because the canine handler, their focus is what that dog's doing, but then you've got a person, the canine handler, that has to also protect themselves and their partner, the canine, from the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know?
It's-
I mean, to put it, I guess, bluntly, it's not just anybody can walk with Canine, right?
Yep.
Even veteran police officers may have never even walked with Canine or seen a dog bite in real life. And here I am at 16, and we'll just fast forward. I see my first location of a suspect and apprehension.
Yes.
Apprehension is code for dog bite,
Dog bite, yeah.
and is quite impressive.
Yes.
And
Scary.
that was my other. That was my next, shot.
Indoctrination, yeah.
That's it. Now most 16-year-old kids are on the weekends, want to go party or do whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna go for a ride along, and it was ride along after ride along almost every night. Because if you know my father, he's just a go getter. Now when you got his kid riding with him, he's go getter times 2.
Yeah. Wants to show
Because
you.
he
Yeah.
wants to show them best practices
Yeah.
and really learn them.
I know Gordy, and Man, to his 06, his final 06, the last week up to it, he was still.
06 is the end of.
Oh, yes,
end of shift.
I apologize. 06 is like your final transfer, your final goodbye. Your after every shift, you say 09, 06, and you take the transfer, which is essentially you're going off duty. So.
Switching off.
Yeah, so I know when I came in, he had his dad had like I think 2 years left. He was doing 2 more years. But I remember that last week because I know there was word when he was about to retire. Man, the guy was a legend, Canine. Legend.
He'd probably put out word on the street at that point like, hey, anybody that can let me get one more Canine track in there.
Yeah,
Go find me some work.
And he was looking for it for himself. So it would be like, hey, there's this car, suspicious vehicle. Oh, I got to bail out.
Yeah.
So
it was like like Michael Jordan's last game or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, hurry up, grab that assist to MJ.
Oh,
Maybe
Kobe,
get a dump.
Kobe
Or
went all out that last game. So
you just keep tossing the ball. Like you try to defend him, he's going out on top.
Well, so imagine that 15 years earlier.
Yes.
When he's even younger and now his son's riding with him and I don't know if he's got something to prove, but you show off a little bit.
Yeah.
He probably did the same thing. Told everybody before they go, "Hey, got my kid with me.
Yeah.
Throw me some business."
Not because he's here, but phenomenal officer. Now he's a lieutenant, but phenomenal cop as well, sitting in front of me. So it rubbed off. But I'm not gonna. I know he's not gonna say it. He's a modest guy, one of the most modest guys next to me because I'm probably the most modest and humble guy. Right? I'm gonna keep putting that in there. Right?
Yeah.
So
Just remind the audience.
Yeah, I can't do a podcast without saying I'm the most modest guy. But anyways, hell of a cop sitting in front of me too. Otherwise, he wouldn't be sitting there because this guy's legit. So, anyways,
and coming from you, now that we're gonna.
Yeah, I always say, hey,
we got to keep our hands above the table when we have this conversation. I feel like we're touching each other, But yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think the difference though between you and I, from what I've heard, I never got to work right with you, but people have great things to say about you.
Yeah.
You're the funny guy on camera, but when you put the uniform on, you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
Can I say? Well, I can't say the bad word, but you're a magnet for it.
Yeah.
Right. I think
Poopy magnet.
and without, if I can say this the right way, the way it's relayed to me is, it just falls in your lap.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but
It's
there's
good luck or bad luck, whatever you want to call that. Me, I had to work for it. Work. But
I think it's an eye. People are like, oh, how do you? Man, you're just a poop magnet. Wait. Can it fly in Avengers? It can fly in Avengers, right?
Yeah.
You're just a shit magnet. And I'm like, no, but you know what? But I'm looking. And I don't want to. Let's not get off of subject.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's a rhyme and reason, and there's a way to, like, if a car's driving in the back street at a couple, late at night and not taking the main roads, you might want to go check out, see what they're doing, and if they start wiggling around, turning corners, well, then you got something. If somebody's walking, giving you the big eyes, like, this guy's this cop's going to do something, or you might want to go and inquire, hey, how you doing? And if they take off running, though, you got something. But there's a whole rhyme and reason behind
You're a
everything.
good fisherman. You're a good
I know all the
fisherman.
good spots.
Yeah. and
That's part of it,
that's,
too.
And that's for sure. So, but let's take a quick break. Now the Love
that was
Fest
quick.
is over, and we'll be right back.
jeez.
What's in the cup? Guys, what's in my cup? Blackout Coffee Company. We joined up with them. I've been drinking it and I enjoy it, and I think you may enjoy it as well. So you can go over to our website and click the link, or you can just go to their website, blackoutcoffee.com, and use our coupon code to get 10% off. The code is DSP10. So go over, check it out. All right, we're back. So, Garret, tell us a little bit more about your history and kind of as you came up through the police department.
Sure. So I'll try to fast track it, but long story short, I was basically destined to get into Canine just because I wanted to. That's where my heart was. Got in at a pretty young age. I was hired at a young age. Funny side note: when I did get into the Canine unit, not only was I a Canine handler for my agency, but at the same exact time when I joined that unit, my father, we already know he was there.
Yeah.
My stepmother was also there. So at the same exact time, all three of us were in the same Canine unit, which
And
probably has
she's a
never
canine?
happened in
Wow.
history.
No.
Yeah, she was Canine handler also. Yeah.
Wow.
So another set of huge shoes to fill.
Yeah.
I mean, between her and my father.
She was in True when I was in True.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
She was out of Canine, and she's in True. So she was a bad mammer jammer too. Shout out.
Yeah.
All right. So
Full-time police woman.
Yeah.
So to let's go back to the Canine and police real quick.
Sure.
And give that overall, that general. What's the role in a police department for a Canine unit? So why is it essential that a police department has one?
So I mean, any given canine unit, there are so many roles the canine can fill. I can just ramble off a few, but most people are probably familiar with maybe a narcotics dog. Excuse me, narcotics dog, EOD, which would be explosive ordnance detection dog, which obviously came very big after 9/11.
Yeah.
You have gun dogs now. That's kind of a new thing. Dogs that find guns or casings, maybe at crime scenes, or they think a bad guy ran through the bushes and threw a gun. You can have a gun dog just find guns. We have missing persons dogs. And then, of course, probably the one that's, the most famous, we would call them utility dogs or patrol dogs or apprehension dogs. Dogs that are trained to track down, find, and potentially, if needed, apprehend wanted felons, violent individuals.
Can they be hybrid? Can it be
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we call them dual purpose. Depends on the agency you go to. So the agency I work for, we have dual purpose dogs, right? You get more bang for your buck. Just because a dog is trained to track down and find suspects, right, doesn't mean they can't also have a good time, because to them it's just a game. It's just a fun game. But they would also be interested in, let's say, being a narcotics dog, right?
Why wouldn't you just train them in everything? Police officers have to learn everything.
Yes.
We have.
Well, we cut the dogs a break.
15 different hats.
That's a great question.
They have 4 legs. We don't. So come on, man. They got all the benefits.
Yeah, so check this out. So you train a dog, let's say, to find illegal narcotics, right?
Right.
And so you're working that dog in the airport. But you've also trained that dog for explosives, right? This is completely hypothetical because it would never happen, and this is why. So a guy rolls by with a suitcase, and your dog shows an alert towards that suitcase. Well, there's a big difference between it being maybe a kilo of cocaine or a pound of C4.
Yeah.
And so, let's do a different scenario. Now you have one dog that's EOD and one dog that's narcotics. The narcotics dog shows an interest in that suitcase. All right, no big deal. That's one situation. Yeah. When the bomb dog starts going after that suitcase, we got a problem.
Yeah.
So that's why you wouldn't want them to do both.
I don't know if it's a trade secret, but what's a look of an alert, or like a so say you've got the EOD, the bomb dog, and guy walks by with a suitcase.
Classified.
Okay.
If I tell you, I have to kill you.
Moving right along.
Yeah. But there is an alert. Is what? Let's
for sure. There's
it.
a change of behavior, is what we'll call it.
So
Change of behavior, and every dog is a little different, for sure.
And that's really what the human attached to that dog is trained to do. Is
if they do
observe those
nothing
things.
else, they do nothing else. How about this? To plug my company some more. Not really, but just because we're talking about it and I'm passionate about it. There's 2 main classes we teach. One we already talked about was street-worthy canine. Get your dog ready for the street. Mm-hmm. The other one, which is maybe even more important, high-risk tactical tracking. Right? Tactical.
Yeah.
The number one thing that we could teach a handler in that class to do, and if they just do this, the rest is easy. When it comes to going after like the worst of the worst, teaching that handler how to better pay attention and spot when his dog has that change of behavior 150 yards away from the bad guy. Instead of the current situation, which is what we're trying to train out of them, because it's a bad training habit that's just, I'm sure we could talk about. Yeah. Anyways, it's a muscle memory thing where your dog has a change of behavior, which, here, I'll give you one. The dog might start pulling harder.
Yeah.
Now the dog's pulling harder, you're going faster. Next thing you know, you're running behind a dog who's just trying to close in on what he believes to be really just a giant toy at the end of the track.
Yeah.
Problem is the giant toy at the end of the track. It's a real human, career criminal armed with an AK-47 that's not ready to go back to prison. Yeah. And so we're trying. One of the things we try to do is get that handler out of the muscle memory bad repetition of just running after that dog straight towards a threat. That's silly. So to your question. Yeah. Zone in on the slightest change of behavior, and based off what you're seeing that dog do, you can determine, among other things, where that suspect's located well before you get within range.
So kind of just to put it in another frame of mind, like for me, I feel like I know my cars that I drive every day. So just that little thing where you don't remember picking up a nail somewhere, but you can just feel it just somehow coming up through the car. And if you're alert enough and focused enough, and so that's probably what you're training the handlers, is to just be that focused to that item, like your vehicle, where you can just, you're like, something just feels wrong, and feels like it's back here to my right. Yeah. And then you go at the gas station and you check, hey, look, there's a nail there. Yep. So probably the same sort of thing. Those little things like you say, like you're far away. You may not, as a human, see anything in the area, but you can just feel a little bit extra tension on there, and you can just alert to those things on your partner, your canine, that you really.
We call it reading your dog. Watch your dog. which you had brought it up earlier. That's why canine handlers don't just let anyone back them up, because if they're doing their job, they are not taking their eyes off the back of that dog's head.
Yeah.
Right? And they're walking basically blindly into a backyard. There's different schools of thought on this, but one of the ways would be that handler never takes his eyes off that dog, because you might have just a split second where that dog shows you the slightest change of behavior.
Yeah.
And if you miss that, that could make a big difference on how that track turns out. So if he's watching the dog, who's watching his back? Who's watching all the corners and the bushes? And
Who's not silhouetting him?
So maybe that's why on the
Nice.
that's why on the news the people might see, you know, to cue them in on what they're seeing. They might see someone, you know, rocking a helmet with an AR-15 on their chest, kind of following with or working with the canine.
oftentimes another canine handler, because they know what that handler needs, and or SWAT.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes a mixed team. And if not that, for maybe lower threat level tracks, if you want to call it that, they should all be considered high level threat. But sometimes you'll get an experienced patrolman who's just done it a lot.
Yeah, because I know in some
I did
agencies
a lot.
the patrolmen are invited to come out on training days
Yeah.
to learn and do some
It
practice.
there was a point where I don't think SWAT was, because there's bailouts. If you're working in a large jurisdiction, high crime area, there's tons of bailouts. You know, and you're going after robbery subjects. So if it was a SWAT call out every single time, so I'd be like, hey, guys, please take it easy, take it easy.
Yeah.
So it would be. I remember they'd get to the scene and they're like, You know, like, they're good.
No,
No, we're good. We're good.
A little bit
We'll
like
take you.
dodgeball.
yeah, I was
right?
gonna say it's like dodgeball or kickball on the playground.
Nope.
Yeah, they're pulling up to the scene. Oh, Nick, hey, yeah, come on.
There's even some old school canine guys that would rather walk or search without a backup at all
Yep.
Yeah.
than have maybe a backup that doesn't know what they're doing, which
Yeah.
just causes more of a liability.
Yeah.
I can't say I agree with that, but I know where they're coming from.
Yeah, the mentality might be like, if I'm also having to watch the dog,
Correct.
and then I got to watch on this rookie behind me, you know, as
Yeah.
a canine guy is definitely not a field training officer type personality that wants to baby everybody along.
Yeah.
You know, they got a job to do, and they know usually an expert in their field.
No, man, but these, I'm telling you, being on scene, they're impressive animals, species, partners to be with, and the bond that these officers have with their dogs is phenomenal. And on the police vlogs, we covered actually. Well, shout out to my boy Redondo when one of his puppies passed away, Red. And we covered the whole thing. I didn't even, you hear about it, but you don't actually get to see that camaraderie. I can't say
Camaraderie?
I can't say that word. But when you see that, man, it was like impressive. It was like, man, these guys really have a connection with these dogs.
Well, like you said earlier, like when that first time when he was at the kindergarten class, you know, this was his family pup.
Yeah.
This was his family dog.
Yeah.
And
You're
that's-
literally with them more than any other living being on the
Yeah.
planet. You're with them more than your wife. You're with that dog more than your kids, because you're there at least 40 hours a week,
Yeah.
right? With him right behind you. Everything you do is with him. You go on vacation. Me personally, I would take my dog on vacation. They live in your house.
Yeah,
I mean, they
that's
are
the thing, they
there,
live there, yeah.
all the time.
What are some of the requirements to get into canine?
So it's going to be different with every agency, but you know, the basic requirements would be.
Must love dogs.
So I'm going to come back to that. It's a good. I think I see where you're going with that. But I'm gonna break a myth, I guess, right? So a lot of people want to get into canine because they think, oh yeah, I love dogs. Okay, do you love getting bit by dogs?
Yeah.
Do you love hiding in a closet for 3 or 4 hours on end as dog after dog after dog because you're playing the bad guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What most canine applicants or people who want to be a canine handler think, yeah, man, I get to hold a leash and it's so cool.
Yeah.
No, that's like 10% of the job.
I was a
The other
dog walker
90%
in college.
yeah, the other 90% is, catching other people's dogs, being a good decoy, or the decoy is the guy wearing the sleeve or the bite suit, sweating in that thing,
Yeah.
hiding in attics. Hey, go crawl up in the attic and hang out there for the next 4 hours as we run dog after dog after dog. I mean, it's rough. And then as you've proven yourself there, then you can enjoy the other 10%, which is, you may have the opportunity to deploy your dog and put some work in, but not until you've done all this. And that's not just for rookies.
Yeah.
I mean, I think every canine handler, I don't care if you've been on 20 years, needs to be putting on that bite suit and getting in the attic and doing what they have to do.
Yeah.
So it's not all, how about this? That's where just one thing that you got to get comfortable with. You know, dog hair at that point becomes a condiment, right?
Yes.
It's everywhere. It's on you.
everywhere.
I don't care how
Oh,
much
dog
you
hair,
brush
yeah,
your
yeah.
dog. You step out of the car. Their canine handlers have a certain look about them.
Yeah.
Always a little rough around the edges. I mean, you're part animal yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're around an animal almost 24/7, I mean, it rubs off a little bit.
Hey,
so.
and in Florida it rains, so wet dog.
Wet dog.
sometimes
Lord.
is that smell, and that's and I know from experience that canine handlers, that bite suit is not a invisible force field. You're not Iron Man, so they also come with a lot of bumps and bruises and
We'll say
and-
accidents happen.
and occasionally those bite suits don't necessarily work.
I've
for
taken
certain
the
dogs.
first. I've taken one hit because it was a part of the vlog. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I remember
You
that.
got rocked.
I got destroyed.
I think you there was a part that we were like, hey, that they're kind of sidebarring, they're like trying to figure out what dog they're going to send. Yeah,
Yeah.
they sent a good one.
They sent a
howitzer missile?
a fur missile.
Yeah, absolutely.
And correct me if, because I'm watching it. I'm like, and I'm watching the way I did another school, and I'm seeing the way they train the officers to take a hit. I'm like, they never trained me to take it like that. They just kind of were like, here, go with
Go
it.
right, just go straight.
Yeah, go with it. Just
Yeah.
go with it. I'm like, what does that mean? No, you just go with it.
Just don't turn your face towards it.
So and you come in whenever I'm wrong and say, no, that's not right. But when you're
That's not right.
But when you're taking a hit for the first time, all right, or you're learning to, no, not a J, J, it's short distance, right? And you feel it, and you turn a little bit. Okay, I got that. And then you move back a little bit, and then because they're picking up speed, the further they go.
The further you go, the bigger the hit's going to be.
The bigger the hit's gonna.
Yeah.
So you work your way, building blocks. Yeah, you don't just go to the top like a diving board. You don't just go to the start at the top and get your form. So they put me
Get you more accustomed to
They
what
put
it
me at the
feels
top. Not only that, they put me at the top where the lifeguard's like, you can't go up there unless you're trained. Like, no, he's good. He's with us.
Otherwise, there's a chain there, sir. He
So-
told me I could take the chain down.
And it was a belly flop. So they went deep all the way back to like the fence, and then they're like, "Are you ready?" I'm like,
So it was like a slingshot.
Yeah, you got rocked. You got rocked.
Yeah, and I think they did some kibbles and bits on the suit. What's this for? No, so he can help find you. I'm like, okay. So, are you ready? I'm like, yeah. And then they said, just run. Okay. I'm like, boochie, here, boochie.
Nice.
Boom.
Yeah,
Shoulder out
they
of
released the
socket.
Kraken on you, man.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like getting hit by like an NFL safety.
So you didn't correct me at all. So I think I was right on my. You ease into it before you get destroyed.
It depends what you're trying to accomplish, right?
Yeah, it was a rite of
So-
passage for me to be on their field. So I was like, I'll do it.
So probably back to the question you guys asked about, how do you get into it?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things some agencies do is it's almost like a hazing, but it's like, do you really want it?
Yeah.
Do you really want to be here? Right? Just like a SWAT school. They put you through the grinder to see if you got the heart to stay in it.
It's a dedicated unit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff I probably can't even talk about we do to see if your heart's really in it. Because again, it's not, can you hold a leash? No. Can you be on the other end of that leash?
Yeah.
All right. And how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
And so some agencies will make you go through the gauntlet a little bit, get some bites, take some high-speed hits like that. Putting on the nasty suit that is probably washed once a year, if that.
Yeah.
And it's got 20 dudes sweat in it.
And it's been in service
Remember
for-
you wore that suit?
Yeah.
Whatever sweat you put in there is still in there,
Probably
probably.
still in there,
all
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
However long ago that was.
Yeah.
A little bit of odor.
and some tears.
Yeah.
And
Blood.
and maybe a little bit of pee.
Maybe a shark.
So just putting that on,
Yeah.
But, so to get into it, you have to want to be into it. And a lot of agencies are what I would encourage someone who wants to be in the canine unit or any other unit for that matter, start hanging around with those guys.
Yeah.
Be smart about how you do that. Don't be annoying.
Yeah.
But let them know you're interested and probably come with how can I help?
Yeah.
I'm very interested. I want to show my dedication and come out. So there are some agencies, some of them may be smaller agencies, they won't even look at you unless you've put in 6 months, a year, 2 years worth of your own time coming out, volunteering, taking those hits, hiding in the attic for hours on end, covered in, who knows what.
Yeah.
And when it comes time for that application to come out, who do you think they're going to look at?
Yeah, of
so
course.
that's probably the biggest way to get into it. Just be there.
They're already familiar with who you are.
Yes,
right?
they can trust you.
What I was going to ask is there like an agility test? For the
Very
officer?
minor.
Very
For our agency, pretty minor. You
Okay.
know.
And then,
There's a run. There's a physical. You know, you have to be in decent shape and.
yeah, because it is an elite unit. You think of the
Right.
elite units, you think of SWAT, you think of Canine, EOD.
Probably not in that order, though. At least on my Canine. Well, so we
everything
have a
else.
saying. You know, it's kind of like the police and firemen.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Canine and SWAT guys are. You know, we
Yeah,
love each other because we back each other up and
Yeah, yeah.
we rely on them, right?
Yeah.
But we joke and we say our motto is first one's in. This is Canine we're talking about.
Yeah.
First one's in, last one's out. Because if you ever see Canine searching, for the most part, those SWAT guys are 5, 10, 15, 20 feet back behind the handler who's making first entry into that yard.
Yeah.
So tactics somewhat have changed, depends what agency you're going with. But, they're right up there.
There is a reason for that, right? And I was told, kind of trial by fire, don't get in front of my canine
Yeah.
when they're
Yeah.
searching.
Yeah.
And then it's a no-brainer. Obviously, if they're searching for somebody and you pop out of the corner, hey, I think they're and then you get hit with a little snip.
Well, God bless
little
the
nip.
SWAT guys, but probably any SWAT guy that has more than 5 years on has either been bit or, almost or
Yeah.
will. It just happens, especially at the most stressful, those high-speed missions, so to speak, where everybody's adrenaline is up. The dog's feeding off that. The
Yeah.
bad guy, it's that Murphy's Law. When it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. And sometimes the SWAT guys get the, but you know what? Never say a word about it.
They're good.
Keep
I know.
on going.
I know.
You got some duct tape? Just patch it
Yeah.
up. Let's keep rolling.
I know quite a few that get taken a hit and they, like you said, lock it up, suck it up, keep moving. And that happens more than often maybe in CQB situations, type quarters.
Backyards,
Yeah.
hallways.
Yeah. 'Cause you're right up on the
hiding
dog.
from you're getting shot at and you're taking cover behind a car. There's not a lot of room behind a car when you have a canine handler, 100-pound German Shepherd, and 4 SWAT operators. Everybody's huddling for some cover.
Yeah.
And that dog is getting amped up. So things happen.
All right.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
I want to after the break, we're going to talk about training and
let's
the
get into
shooting
it.
around the dog and some of your stuff that you do in the company,
sure.
everything. All right, go.
We'll be right back.
Teaser.
Hey, come here. Come here. No, bring it in real close. I got something for you. Did you subscribe yet? Right down there. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, because you got to know when we're going to give you a show. Do it. Go now. Go now. I'm waiting. Come on. Right there. All right, back to the show.
Myth busting. Ready? Last
Sure.
thing on the requirements, unless something else comes up. But do you need ample space in your house to be considered for canine?
Yes. So for the agency I work with, and most agencies, they're going to require you to have at least some kind of fenced-in backyard, some kind of grassy area, some kind of maybe kennel, some place for the dog to hang out comfortably and be a dog when it's not working.
Okay.
So yes.
Because they're high energy, right? Like
Oh yeah, most of them are. Yeah, absolutely.
If you live in a tiny apartment, they'll probably.
Yeah. There's exceptions to the rule. It depends on the agency, but yeah, for the most part, consult with your local agency.
I like that little disclaimer.
Before we went on the break, you were talking like with the kind of hierarchy of units and SWAT and canine, and I would understand that because a lot of them, maybe switching back and forth, are high liability for an agency, for the officers, and all that kind of stuff. So they're considered high liability. One of those liabilities, have you ever heard of a police canine killing a suspect due to canine?
I think there's one case, I want to say in California, if I'm correct, where a suspect maybe committed a burglary, was hiding in a mechanic shop or in a garage. I remember reading about it, and the dog was deployed. They didn't know where the guy was. The dog was deployed off leash, which is kind of common in a commercial type building.
Yeah.
Located the suspect, bit him in the neck, and I want to say he either died or was real close to it. But that would be the only one that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
There's maybe been some close calls, but for the most part, canines are considered a non-lethal option, right? Not
So-
for the most part. They are.
Yeah. And obviously, we're going to get into training, but neck would be, you got a lot of stuff there, especially
Yeah.
the carotid artery. If it nips one of those.
And in the case that I'm telling you about, that's basically it was a loss of blood situation.
Okay, so that's
Just
where
dog
didn't-
bit him in the the right spot or the wrong spot. Depends how you want to look at it, right?
What about any limbs that get detached? And I don't want to get too graphic, but
No,
all of a sudden
no.
walking out with an arm and like,
No. It's
where'd
not
you
like
get that from?
No.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
No, if trained properly, if the dogs are trained properly, and the handlers are trained properly, even the hardest dog, right, toughest street-worthy dog, should technically just put 4 punctures for the most part.
Yeah.
Tons of pressure.
Yeah.
4 punctures. End of story. 1 bite. We train them to bite and hold, not bite.
No,
A
see,
dog
that might
that
be
bites,
a-
releases, and bites and releases, that's a bad dog. That dog is not street worthy. Take
Yeah.
that dog off the street. Not only is it a liability, but there's issues in its training. But we are looking for just a nice strong bite and hold.
That might
Until we
be
tell you
one of
to
those
release.
misconceptions that people are fearful of, that the dog is chewing or
No.
really going at it.
Or trying
So-
to eat the no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
trying to
It's
eat
just
them.
think of it as a glorified game of tug of war. That's all the dog thinks it is it's a toy, and he's trying to hold on to that toy. That's all
So,
it
in
is.
the use of force policy, would you consider that equivalent to an incapacitating, like a taser or something?
Yeah,
So-
right along with the taser, deployment of a taser.
Okay, so it's good to know. I mean, well, there are. You can't just. There has to meet a certain criteria before you deploy your dog.
Correct. Every
Yeah.
agency is different, but for
Yeah.
the most part across the country, it has to be a violent person's crime.
Yeah.
You know, armed robbery, rape, murder.
Yes.
We're not. Most agencies aren't deploying it for someone that, stole a pack of gum from the store.
Yeah, so it has to meet a certain threshold before those dogs are.
usually misdemeanors
deployed.
and stuff.
Just want to clarify that.
There are some exceptions, but every
Yeah.
agency is a little different.
Yep.
So you got to resort back to the policies and procedures of those agencies, which is probably something that when you watch it on the news does not explain what the policy and procedures of the agency.
Yeah, and that is drilled into each and every canine handler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and they're tracking. I guess they keep track of like,
Yep.
you don't want somebody going out there and every single
Yeah,
time.
percentages, bite percentages, they
Yeah.
call it. Yeah, bite ratio.
Just it's like it's like use of force. If you have someone who's heavy-handed on your agency, they'll start tracking. Like, hey, how come every time you go into a call, there's a use of force? So what's going on here? We need to take a look at this and better figure out how we can train you, to use other methods.
Yeah, use your mouth, rather than using your hands every single time.
So it also conveys and applies to canine as well.
Correct.
All right. So we touched up on all the requirements. Let's talk about the bang 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 training. You were
Training
talking about
time.
shots being fired by your dogs, hiding. We can go into some of the training methods, what you use.
Yeah, because most common house dogs, like on 4th of July and
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
they, people, we have to put out social media announcements reminding folks about their dogs, and and then you always hear a case of someone's door was open and fireworks around 4th of July were going off. What do you do with canine, because they might be involved in
Right.
some type
So,
of shooting.
old school method, which is still taught to this day, but it depends what agency you go to. There's more than one way to do it. The old school method was to get your dogs fired up. When they heard gunfire, they knew it was time for action. They sounded gunfire. They wanted to take care of business. Now, the new method, which I can agree with, is we want them immune to gunfire. Gunfire means nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So we start similar, like you mentioned, but the opposite, further away. Maybe take a 22 or something that makes a lower sound, and then slowly, steadily get closer and closer. And the dog's sense of hearing is at least twice as good as ours, so we tend to either use cotton balls or something to diminish the effects of that, because we don't want to cause harm to the dog. But
Right.
we want them immune to it. Do
Yeah.
obedience around gunfire, and that's where the term obedience comes from. When it counts, when shots are ringing out and all hell is breaking loose, when you tell that dog to sit or to down or to come to you, the dog needs to do it. And
Yeah.
so that's where true obedience comes in. Yeah.
So, and that only that doesn't go with gunfire. It also goes with physical. So for instance, naturally, you might have a guy. I've seen one of these videos where the guy squares up against the dog. They send the dog. He squares up and he starts fighting the dog. Bam, 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 throwing punches. So the dog's got to understand, like, hey, I gotta get immune to this, because I'm gonna get hit. I'm gonna
Correct.
feel some kind of don't release, hold,
Yes.
like you said.
That's one of the things we teach in our streetworthy class at my American Overwatch Canine Company. Like I said, those are the two classes we focus on, streetworthy and high-risk tactical tracking. The streetworthy is 99% geared towards building that dog up. Almost like you almost don't even need the handler. The handler is literally just holding the leash, encouraging the dog, and even sometimes not. We tell the handler, hey, wait in the car, send your dog into that building. When he's done, you'll know, okay?
Are you working on a class to teach a dog how to drive?
We just want the dogs to be able to work independent, not rely on the handlers.
Yeah.
And when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, right? And we want those dogs to be tough. And so we push them right to the brink, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
We build them up. We let them get used to the fact that, like, hey, it's not all hugs and kisses and roses out there.
Yeah.
You might go into a building and a bad guy, a real bad guy, something we refer to in the industry as like a 1%. And where that comes from is, they say, like, when you show up with a police dog, maybe 50% of the bad guys, as soon as they hear the dog barking, hey, okay, I don't want to play. I give up.
right.
Yeah.
Then you got another, let's say, like 49% who will hide up until the point. You're going to tell them, hey, I will release the dog. Hey, I see you hiding in the bushes. You need to come out. And they don't. No, I'm going to take my chances. Once that dog bites them, they don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
But there's that 1%, whether they're high on drugs, they have a mental condition, or they just really don't want to, they're just a bad mamma jamma.
Yeah.
The big kahuna,
Yeah.
I call it. And those dogs need to stay in the fight.
Yeah.
And we teach them to. And we teach them to by they've never lost a fight, no matter how bad it's gotten training. And again, going back to what I originally said, they don't know what's training and what's real if you do it right. And so we'll set up scenarios. I mean, we'll even go so far as to, okay, hey, start a mile away. Come here, lights and sirens the whole way. Bring them out. And you saw probably in that first video, we're using interesting equipment that's pushing it beyond the old Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
Right? On the street, the bad guy's not going to be wearing a bite suit.
Yeah.
He might be butt naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And butt naked holding a knife.
So you
okay?
get butt naked for your trainings?
Well, we don't, I mean, I get down to my skibbies. I really do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that's truth. 100% truth. What do they do? They know these guys are career criminals. They know there's a bolo out for what I'm wearing. I'm taking off my jacket.
Yeah.
I'm taking off my pants. And then on these perimeters, you'll find a lot of
Articles of clothing.
Yeah, articles of clothing.
Yep.
So,
We've had scenarios. This happens actually more often than not. You wouldn't believe it. But when guys are either in a perimeter or break into a house, one of their go-to maneuvers, one of two things. If they're not just a regular, like, let's go hide somewhere.
Yeah.
They'll go into bed and pretend they're sleeping, like they live there or they own the place, even though they just broke in the back door.
Yeah.
Or they'll take a shower.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
hey, what's going on? I'm just taking a shower.
Yeah.
Hey, show me your hands. Come out of the shower. I'm just taking a shower.
Yeah.
Well, will your dog bite a guy in a shower when the water's running?
Yeah.
If your dog's never seen that, then he might not.
Yeah.
So we set scenarios like that up. But whatever, the sky is the limit. We go historical, things that have happened to us in real life, and then things that could happen, right? Will your dog bite someone in a lake,
Yeah.
in a pool? It's like the Dr. Seuss.
What about-
on a plane, on a train,
Yep, but-
anywhere, everywhere.
You got to introduce them to all that
Yep.
stuff.
I'm always like,
Exposure.
If a dog ever attacks me, I'm just going to jump up on this car real quick. And in your video.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And if
Yeah.
your dog's never done that, it's just not going to, they don't comprehend how do I get on top of that car.
Yeah.
So you actually, some dogs you have to show. You have to show them, like, all right, hey, you can get up on the back. If you wanted to come up, we show them, walk them through it, baby steps, and then build them up. And then back to somebody had mentioned, like, the dog might get hit on the street,
Yeah.
punched.
Yeah.
I just watched a video very recent. The dog got stabbed.
Yeah.
Nasty, was getting stabbed, stayed in the fight.
Oh, yeah, those-
because the dogs, if trained properly, doesn't know to quit. It's never quit. It's just not in its vocabulary. It just
Yeah.
knows to go forward. And one of the things we teach dogs, again, if done properly, you fight pressure with pressure. The only way you turn pressure off is by adding pressure. So if in one of the videos you might see, I bonked the dog on the head with an empty 5-gallon like Zephyr Hills, water
Yeah.
thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
hurt the dog.
Yeah.
But they don't know, but they get the experience of getting bonked. And I will keep bonking you until you show me aggression, until you bite harder.
Yeah.
And the minute you do that, release pressure. That's one of the training secrets.
Yeah.
And write that down, folks.
So I mean, most regular training classes that you do, we're training our personal dogs in English terms and stuff like that. You guys have to learn like different languages or whatever to get those releases when you gain compliance with the apprehension and
Yeah. So as far as like the languages, or people will ask you, "Hey, your dog speaks German?"
Yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't speak anything. He speaks bark.
Yeah.
He knows German commands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so where that came from is a lot of dogs that we work are imported. There's usually two types of dogs that we purchase or select for police agencies. Depends what agency you use. Some even do both. The first option would be importing a dog from overseas that is either Schutzhund trained or IPO trained. And what that is like here in the U.S., maybe on the weekends, us as Americans, maybe we go play golf.
Mm-hmm.
Over there in Europe, there's a lot of people that, instead of playing golf, they go to the training field with their dogs, their Malinois, their German Shepherds, whatever it might be, Doberman, and they train them up, they get them certified, then they sell them and get the next one. And they train them up, get a certification, try to, either as a business or as a sport, as a hobby. They want to continue to try to rank, or like, hey, I titled this dog as a Schutzhund 3 or whatever. And so now the dog's about 2 years old.
Dog shows,
Yeah, but this is working line stuff.
Yeah.
And so now the dog has titled. There is nothing left to prove. He's a top dog. He's 2 years old. Well, there's nothing left to do with him.
Yeah.
I want to train the next one. And so they'll sell those dogs. And then some agencies here in the U.S., they'll be imported to the U.S. by a vendor. The vendor will come to different agencies. Or we'll contact the vendor and say, hey, we're ready. We got a new recruit. Nick Perez is here. He's into the canine unit. He needs a dog. And then they will show us the dogs, and we'll make a selection like, hey, we want that dog. That would be one way. And we buy what's kind of considered buying a titled dog.
So and then those dogs all come with a set of instructions, which essentially going to be the commands.
Kind of, yes.
So it's like
because
the fourth set. Like you have to go through the American. You have to go. Does this one work? Does this one work?
So we often get dogs from Holland, Germany, Czechoslovakia, France. So you will get French commands, German commands, Czech commands, Dutch commands.
Real quick, do the Germans buy like American bulldogs, and then they have American commands like bite him,
Probably.
bite him,
Probably.
look for him, yeah,
No.
The most common, easiest one. No.
no, okay, all right, okay, I just flip it around, you know what I mean?
So like if you watch, so I have a YouTube channel where I do like civilian dog training, and people constantly like, they're like, what did you say to him right there?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. It just comes out. I'm training an American dog, if you want to call it that, for an American.
Yeah.
But I'm like, ooh, it's a rough hunt.
Yeah.
I'm saying like, or rolling an R that for no reason. Oh, that's a good boy, Sasha Brafa. And what are you saying to him? Like, I'm just telling him good boy. They don't know English. They get the vibe. They get the feel.
They like the.
Yeah.
Just like Fluffy in your kitchen right now doesn't really understand what you're saying. They just know the peaks and
the intonation and your physicality actually speaks more to the dog than anything you're saying.
That's why, like, a lot of times I hear you say rough a lot. You're like, oh, it's rough, and this was rough. Is that part of it? Like you're speaking dog too, or no? No. It's just the way you just like saying tough for rough. No, I lose you on that one, Justin.
Yeah.
He's been saying rough. He's like, it is rough. It might be a canine thing. I don't know.
I was just trying to read. Trying to read the screen.
So going back to the training. So we use the commands. We use different languages depending upon where the dog comes from, right?
Sure. Yeah. That's kind of how it started. And then some handlers prefer that because they don't want maybe someone in the street to know the command to let go.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe a hidden secret, but
and it's also kind of just like the base of the first things that dog heard.
Yeah, it's just what they know.
We just continue it on through their life. There's no sense in training them a second language.
Yeah. Plus, it's cool.
Yeah.
The ladies like it.
Yeah.
It makes you sound awesome. All right. Well, let's take a. I like the leaning in, man.
Yeah,
Same thing.
Sounds awesome.
just really gets the ladies going. Let's take a quick break and talk a little bit more about your company and kind of what you do for everybody out there.
Because you do two things, police and civilian. So I want to talk a little bit about both.
Yep.
All right.
We'll be right back. What's up, everybody? It's Justin here. Just wanted to tell you about our friends over at D&B Tile Distributors. There's 6 locations all across South Florida for whatever you need, from accessories, installation materials, marble, stone, sealers, cleaners, tiles, of course, different tools that you might need. Go over and check out their website, dbtile.com. And when you go in there, tell them that the Donut Shop podcast sent you. Now back to the show. All right, we're back. Before we get into the company, or maybe as part of your company, what are some of the types of dogs that agencies use nowadays?
Okay,
2020?
so nowadays it really comes down to like 3 or 4 breeds. The number one breed that you're going to see out there most of the time is going to be the Belgian Malinois.
Yeah.
Next, that people are probably most familiar with would be a German Shepherd, not to be confused with like an American line German Shepherd. Most of the ones you see police officers using would be considered European or East German German Shepherds, Czech Shepherds.
Yeah.
To me, in my mind, completely 2 different animals. And Dutch Shepherds, they are around. They have like tiger stripes. They're pretty cool looking. And then for the non-patrol work, like bomb sniffing and stuff like that, would be Labradors. You see a lot of those.
Yeah.
Pointers sometimes. But the big ones are the Malinois. And if
You see the labs in Disney. Disney World, we're here in Florida. They have a lot of labs. I guess you guys kind of use lingo-wise, like what is it, like floppy ear versus pointed ears, or is there that kind of a conversation?
No,
What about the?
Oh, yeah. Bloodhounds. For sure. I forgot about them.
See how I did that? He knew exactly what I was talking about. Like,
Yeah, they are howlers, man.
Yeah.
I forgot completely about them, but yeah, a lot of agencies use them for missing persons dogs because they're not usually bite dogs. Now, having said that, there are some more country areas. They got some bloodhounds that'll take your arm off.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, fantastic tracking dogs. But for the most part, you're seeing Malinois and German Shepherds. And every time I have an opportunity to say this, I want to say it. It's like a public service announcement on my YouTube channel. Right, I have a video coming out. It's called.
We're gonna link it down below.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the Malinois right for you? I'll give you a hint. Is the Malinois right for you as a civilian? Hell no.
Yeah.
No.
2-letter word. No.
No.
Yeah.
No, it is too much dog, and everybody, they see it on TV. They're so cool. They are not for you. That's like having a 2-year-old child high on 10 shots of of espresso, Cuban coffee all day long, nonstop. There is no off button on that dog. Okay, so. Yeah, just don't get one. Or get one and then call me because I would love to train it, and you're going to need it. You're going to need the training. You're going to drop 15.
Segue.
Yeah, I love training Malinois, and I get a lot of Malinois come through because people buy them thinking they're such a cool dog, and they are, but they are really not made for most civilian households. It's just not. Can you? Yeah, people do it all the time. Yes, you have to be very active lifestyle. You have to probably work from home would be a recommendation. Leave that dog alone for more than a few hours, and you're going to come back to something that you're not going to like. That dog will. They need to work, right? And if you don't give them a job, they will find a job, and they will be very good at it. So if their job becomes tearing up your carpet, well, great job. They're going to do it.
Obviously, those are even the trained ones from overseas, because you said, let's bring it back. You get some they train them over there, right? In commands and everything. And then they send them over here. Yeah. But you take it a step further.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So even those will do that, or they're already kind of okay? Or they still have to come see you?
You still got to give those dogs work.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So if you have a fully trained police dog, and let's say you take a month off of work for whatever reason, vacation.
Yeah.
That dog will tear up your furniture. I don't care if it's a police dog or not. He's like, Dad, we used to go to work every day, and I used to do stuff, and now I'm trapped. So you find that a lot with some retired dogs. Like maybe you retired early, and maybe the dog's only 8 years old instead of like 12, which might be a typical age for a Malinois to retire. So it retired early for whatever reason. Man, it's still got a lot of heart, still got a lot of energy. It's a Ferrari that you're trying to park in a garage. But the difference with dogs compared to like vehicles or a Ferrari, they can turn themselves on and they can hit their own gas pedal. So you better have some brakes installed.
Drive themselves.
Yeah,
So-
they really can.
So the canine handler or the officer, if that dog does retire 8 years, do they keep them?
Yes, well, for the most part, right? If you've served your time as a canine handler, you're in good standing, and the dog ages out, or you age out, or you retire, it's kind of a formula. But yeah, for the most part, if you've done your part and your dog's done its part, you get to take that dog home, and it lives the rest of its years as a family pet. Absolutely.
Hypothetically, because there's officers that are in the unit, right, and then they get promoted, and then their dog stays in the unit, right?
Yes. So there are times.
So just to round out the thing. So let's say I've had the dog for 8 years, right? And then I got promoted to a sergeant, or 7 years. I just missed a threshold for that dog to retire, right? 7 years. I leave. Someone takes my dog, works with them for that last remainder year or so. Is that my dog still, or what's up?
That's a very complicated question. That happens, and so sometimes there's agreements made. You know, like, hey, look, I spent the last 7-8 years of my life with that dog. You're only going to spend another year or two with it. Like, hey, as a favor, do you mind
And they usually
sometimes that happens. Yeah, sometimes.
You just
Sometimes
put them
not.
in the training field.
Sometimes
and
not.
just-
Man, it's
Put them in the training field and say, who do they walk to?
that would be interesting. Heartbreaking, but for somebody.
Sounds like a
But,
great vlog.
That was good. That's
But
good.
what does happen a lot is maybe because of timing or who knows what, maybe a dog only gets 2, 3, 4 years of work in.
Yeah.
Maybe that handler promotes to a sergeant out of the unit, which is typical. They're going to go somewhere else. And then that dog is too young to retire. It's too much money and time invested in that dog to just retire at 4 years old. Plus, it's not fair to the dog.
Yeah.
You know, let that dog do what it was born to do. You know. And then I think we got off topic before, but I had mentioned that.
No.
Yeah. Right.
My bad.
Right. I talk in circles, but anyways, there was. Like I said, agencies.
So you kind of chase your tail?
This guy, it's true. It's true. You become your dog.
Yeah, you do. So the other way agencies purchase dogs is something we call green dogs. Green dogs would maybe be 6 months to a year old, have almost zero obedience, but they know how to maybe bite a sleeve, and they love to play the game of tug of war. And you take that green dog and you put in the obedience and put in the work and make it a police dog. So the benefits to a green dog would be it's usually younger.
Yeah.
Get it at 6 months. 6 months later, it's fully trained. Now you're starting out with a 1-year-old dog.
Yeah.
And now you basically, it's a newer car, right?
Yeah. It lasts
Versus
longer.
one that has a little more miles on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're buying maybe a title dog, they're more in the realm of 2 to 3 years old. So you're losing a year or two getting a title dog. But the benefit to a title dog is they're ready to rock and roll. Green dogs you have to build up. There's pros and cons to both, but we can probably get into that another time.
Yeah. Side note, and I love side notes. I was back in the day. I had a German Shepherd. It was like a German Shepherd Husky. It was a German Shepherd mixed little, but so we couldn't handle the dog anymore. Jump over the fence, chase neighbors, and it was crazy. So we were like, we wanted to find, and I can't tell you if it was an actual police, but I know it was a training company that came to the house, and the way that they accepted the dog is if they would put their fingers and it would go for the bite. I don't know. That's back in the day, in the 90s. I don't know if this is true or whatever. It was just some ghetto service that came through, but they wanted to see if it wasn't a punk, if it was going to go after for the bite.
So if they kind of came in an aggressive manner, if that dog would come back to
go for
defend
and then once, because it would chase, but it never bit. But it would get real close and go, whoa, 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 whoa. But we're like, any of these days, this dog is going to bite somebody.
So was it a scared dog that was barking beyond?
No, it jumped the fence and ran after the kid. I'm so scared of you, but I'm chasing you. You know, it was like one of those.
So tell us, you have 2 different companies, and one of them is on that civilian side, like the little baby Nicks of the world that have a crazy dog that chases their neighbors.
Yeah.
And then you have a law enforcement.
Who are the people that call you and say, hey, I want you to train my dog?
Let's say for the civilian.
Everyone, all walks of life, you know, all breeds.
What are the
ages.
reasons?
Aggressive. That's probably the number one, you know, because they're at their wits' end. Like the dog's already bitten 1 or 2 or 3 people, and like they have no other choice but to get that dog trained finally. So we're going to fix that. Some people call, and we love this, puppies, 8 weeks old, literally from the breeder to me.
Barely stand up on their own.
And we love that because it's a nice, fresh, clean slate. It's a blank canvas.
Yes.
And we're going to install what we call the foundation, concrete foundation of how to behave.
Yeah.
For instance, here's a little tip for your viewers at home. You know the number one way to keep or train a dog not to pee in your house? Never let them pee in your house. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Never give them an opportunity to pee in their house, and that habit won't be formed. Instead, you form immediately, day 1, hour 1. This is where I want you to pee, out in the grass. You get that as soon as that habit starts. One relief, you know, in the right spot. They're like, it's my spot.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we like to get them young so that we're not spending all our time trying to erase bad habits, but simply setting a baseline of what's the right thing to do.
But
right?
So for that person, that civilian, the biggest thing would probably be patience and putting in time. You can't just, like you said, get a brand new dog, lock him in the house, go to work for 8-10 hours a day, leave it, and expect it to know exactly how to live as a house dog that you want.
Correct.
Or
immediately.
Option B, call my boy Garrett.
Yeah.
We're gonna put the link down in the description below.
But you've got to have that patience. You've got to have that knowledge.
Yeah, and the know-how, really the know-how.
The dedication to bring them to like an obedience training, or to kind of teach them, especially from an early age.
You'll find people spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on dogs. I mean, there's some French bulldogs out there you're spending $10,000, $20,000 on, or these the new rage is the XL bullies or whatever. But you know, you're going to take them to either no training or to some silly, you know, local pet store goofball training. That's what I call it. It's goofy.
So
you got to bring them to a real trainer. Put some money and time into the dog so that you're going to spend 10, 12, 15 years of your life with this dog. And the sooner you get them into the trainings, the better.
And you would recommend obedience versus protection?
Yeah, so, wow.
We have
question,
enough
big
time to
question.
get into...
Yeah, I'll make it short and sweet. A lot of people call me. Obviously, they know my background with police work. We train real protection dogs, so to speak, to do real work on the street. What do I mean by that? They will actually bite someone when needs be, when told to, okay? Yeah. There's a lot of companies out there putting on a lot of shows, right? Yeah. Showing these dogs biting sleeves, getting, you know, acrobatic, flying over a wall. I mean, I guess I did that too when we opened this intro. But the difference is, did you see this? Remember we talked about street worthy?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When it counts, will your dog do the job at hand? And maybe against, this might go against what popular opinion or what people think. Dogs do not want to bite humans. It's not in their nature to do that, right? Yeah. They have been domesticated. Man is their best friend and vice versa. Yeah. So when you ask a dog to jump that final hurdle, no matter how much training you put into it, to apprehend that guy that's, you know, hiding in the bushes covered in sweat with no equipment on, will it do it? And I'm going to tell you right now, 99.9% of the protection dogs you see out there on the street will not bite a real human. They won't do it because I've been there and I've seen it. There are fully trained police dogs that will not bite a human when it comes time because they're that younger. You've seen it out on the street. You get that rookie off of FTO and you say, all right, right out of the police academy, hey, you see that guy over there that's drunk and wants to fight anybody that goes near him? Yeah, you're up. Go get him. Yeah. And you know what? Let's rewind 15, 20 years ago. No taser. Go get him. Yeah. Oh, I don't know what to do. Yeah. Help.
Yeah. Right now?
Yeah, right now. Yeah. Right now. And so you'll see dogs fail. There's tons of videos of real police dogs working the street for year after year, and they fail. They don't want to engage. They're scared or they don't get it. Yeah. And so I kind of got off topic, but so people call me all the time. They want to get that Malinois, which don't get one. Yeah. They say, I got a Malinois, 6 months old. It's awesome. And it bit my neighbor already or whatever. Can you train it to be a protection dog? Yeah, I could, but I won't. 99% of the time I will not, and because this is the reason. If you really want a protection dog, right, the amount of time, hours, and money and blood, sweat, and tears to get that dog to truly be a protection dog is beyond what most people can afford or have time to do. Yeah. Okay, so let's just go ahead and say that we did that, right? You're talking $30,000 later, right? You pay someone that knows what they're doing to get that dog right. And then, if you really want to trust or bet your life on it, and let's just, if I may, let's take, I won't use you, but let's take one of your viewers out there that has a wife and kids. Yeah. And I travel out of the country for work a month or two at a time. Okay, so I want a dog that can protect my family. Okay. Get ready to drop 30, 40, 50 grand on that fully trained Malinois, or buy a puppy and spend the time and money and get the dog where it needs to be to truly protect. We're going to have to do a lot of work around your house with the boogeyman trying to sneak in. You're going to create an animal, a monster that wants to destroy. Okay? Mm-hmm. So now this is what happens. It's, I don't know, 10 at night. Yeah. Dad's not there. Your trained Malinois is there. Knock, knock, knock. That dog is going to go bananas. Yeah. Bananas. Great. That's what we want, right? The first thing your wife's going to do in order to answer that door is put the dog up in another room so that she can answer the door.
Yeah, what's the point?
Where's your $50,000 protection dog? Yeah. All right. And so all that stuff, and it's really fluff that you see on TV where you're going to get that dog to wait patiently by the door, and if the threat presents itself, if a true threat presents itself, I got another solution for you that's a lot cheaper and guaranteed to work. First time, every time.
2A.
Glock. Yeah. Okay. Get yourself a Glock. Yeah. By the time you spend you can just get a lot further. Yeah. With a handgun in your home, because you know what a truly, we'll call it a protection trained dog that really, we talk about flicking the switch on and being able to flick it off. And there's a super fine line there, super fine line. And so what you end up having if you have a true protection trained dog, or that dog we talked about where you put your hand through the fence and it will really actually bite your neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a loose cannon. That is a gun with no safety.
Yeah.
And you have zero control over that trigger for the most part. And so it's just it's more of a liability at that point. And so that is why I don't train protection dogs. What I would recommend is a much cheaper option, which we already talked about. But if you're going to get a dog, get you that nice big Rottweiler. Get you that nice German Shepherd that has the natural protection instincts. And you know what a good protection dog is to me? Puts on a big bark and puts on a big show when something's not right.
Yeah.
Knock at the door late at night, suspicious. I mean, they'll hear the car door close and you won't, and they'll set the alarm. That's what you want. And even a Chihuahua can do that.
Yeah.
Set the alarm. Get you one of those. Get an alarm bell.
Right.
You know, or something that might put on a big enough show at the front door to give you time to reach for your Second Amendment option. All right,
Or
so
learn
that's
how
my
to
spiel
bark.
on it.
Yeah, you do it. Yeah, that's what I used to always tell people that had burglaries.
Little
you know,
dog
like,
bark.
Oh, an alarm and stuff. Oh, but I don't want it to be too loud. No, you want that freaking speaker on the top of your garage that tells all your neighbors to stick their heads out. You know, so it's the same thing. We get those calls. Somebody's dog is barking crazy in their backyard. Can you guys go check it out? So it's the same sort of thing.
Which, by the
It's
way,
that alarm.
Tall tale sign on the perimeter. When you hear dogs barking in the backyards, you know someone's running around back
Cue
there.
it in, start to put
That's where we're going to start our search right there. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So sorry to go on that big long tangent. I'm pretty passionate about it, but I don't want to set people's expectations up for. To me, it's a falsehood. Like, hey, you want to spend the money? You want me to train your dog to be a protection dog? You know, we can discuss that. But
here's what could come with that. You put it all on the table before they make the decision.
100% up front.
That's being a responsible trainer. Very good.
And I challenge anyone out there that thinks they have a fully trained protection dog, or that owns a company that trains protection dogs. Bring your dog to me. I won't wear equipment. Send him in the backyard. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
And there's ways to get your dog to stop biting, right? So essentially, you say you're comfortable going in there without equipment.
What I'm saying is, I don't. You know, most of the trainers you see out there training protection dogs. Look, it's great. It's showy. It's beautiful. It's awesome. Been there, done that. We do that in police work. We want to put on canine demos and have that dog launch in the air, you know, 20 feet and hit you and take you to the ground. Beautiful. Put me in a house or in a bag, wherever.
Yeah.
Send that dog on me with no equipment, and I've got a stick in my hand.
Yeah. You can defeat. Not defeat, but you can make
The dog's going to run up to me looking for equipment.
Yeah.
When it doesn't see equipment, or I smack it on the head with a stick, you know, not that I'm condoning abusing an animal.
Yeah.
That's real. That's more realistic because when the bad guy breaks into your home, he's not going to be wearing a sleeve and going, "Come on, get me, get me, get me."
Yeah.
He's gonna
Look for
a
a weapon
real
of
bad guy is gonna come in there with something and bop your dog on the head and that's it. What if he comes in with a gun? Well, then you brought a dog to a gunfight.
Yeah.
Again, always resort back to that, Second Amendment option. That's where I'm at. Okay.
America,
yeah, for sure.
We still got some time.
Let's do it. Fire out some
I
more.
restarted the clock.
Oh, you restarted the clock, so we're at our limits.
It sets an alarm.
I think we could have. We could have talked 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours.
Probably, yeah.
Because there's a lot of roads to go down
Yeah.
that we didn't touch on.
We've barely skimmed the surface.
Real quick, we mentioned bloodhounds. What about the old Saint Bernards with the medicine out there in the cartoons and the snow thing, and
Brandy, I
something
think it was,
something
on their neck.
something to go back to. But we got we can go talk for hours.
Oh, yeah.
but-
History, present day. What's the future hold for Canine? What this piece of equipment is on the table.
Oh, boy.
And for those of you at home, this is an e-collar.
An e-collar.
Yeah. Also known as a shot collar, training collar, digital leash is what I call it.
And your pitch was, and that's why you brought it today. Is like, hey man, we could put it on you, and we can do a little demonstration.
Ooh, sounds like a good idea.
And I was like, you know what? I'll do it. And then I just kept talking, so you were hoping you
trying
forget.
to avoid it.
I made a long list of questions.
At
for
one
you.
point, you were talking and you touched it. I'm like, oh man, here it comes. But we're gonna have you back on, of course.
And we will bring this and we're going to use it for sure.
Yeah, I'll you know what? I'll man up. I'll do it. If there's comments, if you guys are liking, or commenting, go ahead and put it on. Put the collar on Nick or comment something so we know that you're listening and you want the collar to go on. I'll do it.
And hey, big news, big celebrations
Yeah.
for the YouTube channel.
Humongo.
So we got
you can say it.
we hit 1,000 subscribers.
That's right.
Thanks to all you subs out there, especially those day one subs.
Shout out to you guys in cameraland.
Yeah.
And those listening on the podcast, hop over to our YouTube channel and give us a subscribe and a like, and it helps out.
Yeah, we always appreciate those podcast listeners too, because we know sometimes you don't have the time to watch the video, but those
Yeah.
videos are fun to watch.
Yes,
and
especially when I'm wearing the shock collar.
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna
we're
be
gonna
hysterical.
that's gonna be a low podcast listenership episode.
we're gonna be also running videos from time to time, doing critiques on video. We got a lot of specialized people coming through, so their feedback on certain scenarios or whatever it is that we put up on the video. With that being said, Garret has a YouTube channel for his training company, and he's about to hit 1,000 as well. So
right there.
if you guys can hop over there, if you're here on YouTube or in podcast land, throw him a bone. Go over there, subscribe. I mean, the video in the beginning of the podcast was awesome. You know, so and then on top of that, we're gonna do a vlog on Nick Off Duty. I want to come check out the training and do some scenarios with you over there.
Oh,
I think
that'd
that'd
be
be interesting.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be working together, right? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
You good with that?
100%.
Cool.
Cool,
So,
yeah.
but head on over there. We're gonna put all the links down below if you don't know. And what else you got, Jay?
That's all I got right now. So
Garret, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Really-
Interesting.
Really appreciate you guys having me.
and
Thank you.
neither of us got bit, which is always a plus.
Yeah.
There's always a next time.
Well, salute, my brother.
Salute.
Thank you. Anything you want to say to wrap it out?
Nope. It's been great being here, guys. Can't wait to come back. Round 2.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you for watching the episode on YouTube, but we wanted to remind you that maybe if you're driving in your car or you're working out at the gym, you can always catch our episodes on your favorite podcast software. So go over and check it out there if you don't have the time to watch the video. And if you're on Apple, give us a good rating. Thanks, bye.